We're here in Geneva today for the second round of Syria peace talks. The last round was in January 2014, but those talks at the time really led nowhere because the parties were stuck on whether President Bashar al-Assad should leave or stay, and whether both the opposition and the regime should focus on combating, what was termed at the time terrorism. Um, Fast forward to 2016, January, it's a completely different picture. We have the world powers, mainly the US and Russia and Europe, more or less on the same page because they feel the war in Syria has gone on for too long. The threat from terrorism, particularly Islamic State, was felt in Europe. And also we have the refugee crisis, affecting Europe in a major way. So all these powers are now determined to try to find a solution to the conflict in Syria with the thinking that, if they stabilize the situation in Syria, people would stay home. And also people might be united, at least the regime and the opposition, in the fight against Islamic State, and that would tamp down that threat. But as of now, we actually don't know if these talks will be held tomorrow, and there are a number of stumbling blocks. The main opposition body has said, in principle, it welcomes the invitation that it received from the United Nations to come here to Geneva to talk peace, but it has a number of objections and preconditions. And the regime itself, the Assad regime, is pretty ambivalent about these talks because they're really making progress on the ground. They're reclaiming territory from rebels with the help of Russia and Iran. So they have no interest in coming here as well. So really very tenuous, fragile start. I mean, one opposition leader told me we're really on shaky ground and we really shouldn't be expecting much from this process. But again, to stress what I said earlier, the world powers, mainly the US, Russia, and the Europeans, are pushing very hard for these talks to begin. This wasn't the case in January 2014. Today, we have a Security Council resolution to back this process, and the world powers are concerned, A, about the threat of Islamic State, and B, about the refugees. And they feel if they can resolve the war in Syria somehow, tamp down the violence, maybe not resolve it entirely, but at least to stamp down the violence, that would go a long way in addressing, the issue of Islamic State and the refugees.